Hello, welcome to GP Podcast. You know, we love to think of the internet as this magical, weightless cloud, right? But the reality is every single click, every search, every AI creation, it's all powered by massive physical machines. And those machines, well, they're hitting a very real, very hard limit. So let me ask you this. What if the future of our digital world wasn't on Earth at all? Imagine looking up at the night sky and knowing that the data powering your life is just humming silently right up there, among the stars. I know, it sounds like pure science fiction, but it just might be the only real solution to a huge problem that's growing right under our feet. So where does this problem even start? It all begins right here, on the ground. Our insatiable demand for data, and especially for AI, is creating an energy drain that our planet is seriously struggling to handle. And this isn't a software issue you can just patch. This is a raw power problem. Get ready for this number: 35 gigawatts. That's the amount of power that data centers in the US alone are projected to demand by 2027. To put that into perspective for you, that is nearly double what they were using back in 2022. And the driving force behind this absolute explosion? Yep, you guessed it, AI. And it's not just about finding more power. Oh no, it's a whole cascade of problems. That energy consumption in the US, it could hit a mind-boggling 100 gigawatts by 2030. These facilities use over 1 trillion liters of water every single year, just for cooling. And even if you manage to find a place to build one, you're facing huge delays connecting to the power grid and often a lot of pushback from local communities. Our digital revolution is smashing into a physical wall. So, if we're running out of room and resources down here on the ground, where do we go? Well, some of the biggest names in technology are looking up, and I mean way up, to a solution that is quite literally out of this world. We're talking about visionaries like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. You know, the people who have already completely revolutionized our access to space. They're proposing a really radical shift, moving the entire backbone of our digital infrastructure into orbit. And when those guys get behind an idea, it has a funny way of going from science fiction to reality pretty fast. The logic behind it is just beautifully simple. In space, the sun shines 24/7. There are no clouds, no night, no weather. It is just a constant, clean, and basically unlimited source of energy. The vision, then, is to have these constellations of orbital data centers just soaking up all that solar power and beaming our data back down to Earth. And when you think about it, moving into orbit solves our problems on the ground almost perfectly. You get unlimited solar power, check. You completely eliminate the terrestrial footprint, so no more fighting over land and water resources. And that physical isolation, it could offer a whole new level of security for sensitive data. Okay, so it sounds like the perfect solution, but, and there's always a but, space is an incredibly unforgiving environment. Before we can build this internet in orbit, we have to deal with some fundamental laws of physics that are definitely not on our side. This is where the amazing dream gets a very harsh reality check. The single biggest challenge is heat. See, here on Earth, we use fans and water to cool things down. In the vacuum of space, that's completely useless. The only way to get rid of heat up there is to radiate it away, to essentially glow with infrared light. This means to cool a really powerful server, you need these massive radiator panels, which often end up being larger and heavier than the computer itself. As one engineer famously put it, you are not a real spacecraft engineer if you have never dealt with thermal. Space is the worst thermal environment possible. So yeah, managing heat isn't just some minor detail here, it is the main event. It's the central puzzle that has challenged spacecraft designers for decades.
And the problems don't stop with just heat. You've got cosmic radiation that just shreds normal electronics, cutting their lifespan from maybe 20 years on Earth to just 5 or even 2 in orbit. We saw this in action when a supercomputer on the International Space Station had nearly half of its storage drives fail. And then there's latency. For us on the ground, the speed of light itself creates a delay in getting data from orbit that you just don't have with a local data center.
So the physics are really tough. But what if you could change the economics so drastically that you could just afford to over-engineer the solutions? What if you could launch bigger, heavier, and more redundant systems so cheaply that all the old rules just don't apply anymore? Well, that's where the game changer comes in. This right here is what could change everything. Right now, launching a single kilogram into orbit on a Falcon 9 rocket costs around $3,000. SpaceX's Starship is aiming to get that cost down below $100. That's not an improvement. That is a revolution, and it's the key that could unlock this entire business case. And because of that incredible promise, This is no longer just some futuristic concept. A brand new space race is heating up right now. You've got SpaceX evolving its Starlink satellites. You've got startups like StarCloud and Axiom planning to launch demonstrators by 2025. And now the big players like Google and Thales Alenia Space are getting in on it too. This is becoming a very crowded field very fast.
Okay, so let's put it all together. We have a massive problem on the ground, a truly visionary solution up in the sky, some huge physical challenges, and one potential economic game changer that could rewrite the rules. So what does this all mean for the future of our digital world? Where is this actually heading?
The way forward probably isn't a sudden switch, but more of a gradual evolution. Right now, we're in the demonstration phase, just proving the technology can work. By the end of this decade, we'll likely see small-scale commercial facilities serving niche markets, like processing satellite imagery directly in orbit. And then, if the economics hold up, we could see gigawatt-scale facilities and maybe even mainstream adoption sometime after 2036. And here is the economic punchline. A 10-year analysis of a 150-megawatt data center is just stunning. On Earth, it could cost you around $2.6 billion, mostly in energy bills. In orbit, assuming Starship hits its cost targets, that price could plummet to around $800 million. That is a potential savings of over 65%. That's a number people are going to pay attention to.
So what's the big takeaway here? Look, orbital data centers are not going to replace your local server anytime soon. That latency is a real factor. Their initial killer app seems to be twofold. First, processing satellite data in space without needing to beam it all down. And second, powering those incredibly energy-hungry AI models with limitless clean energy, far away from Earth's strained power grids.
We started with a problem of power and space right here on Earth, and we've ended up with a solution that could redefine our relationship with both. The physics are challenging, sure, but the economics are becoming undeniable. The question is starting to feel less like if and more like when. So I'll just leave you with this thought. Is our digital world about to leave the planet? If you like the video, subscribe, leave a like, comment on what you liked most, and share the video.